Hey. Week 8 is in the books, which means it is time to react. What is up, everybody?
Week 8 is crazy.
Week 8 was crazy. We got a lot of bad beats to talk about as well. What is up? Welcome with us on this Monday, October 30th, into the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Absolute blast of a weekend as usual. Feel like every Mondays that we do this show, my voice is a little raspy from the drinking and partying that was done over the weekend. If you're watching on YouTube and had a good weekend yourself, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Also, listeners, loyal listeners on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, do us a favor, hit those ratings. They do help us go a very long way on those crucial audio platforms. We did have a fun weekend of football, Saturday college, but we are here today talking about the NFL Week 8 slate, and we are going to start like we usually do with our teams first, starting with the best team in the NFL that we have finally seen now from other teams that somehow just don't seem to win. The Philadelphia Eagles moved to 7-1 in Washington against the Commanders, sweep the Commanders this season, and now are 7-1, a 38-31 victory. Plenty of things to break down in this game. Obviously, Devontae Smith gets the job done, 99 yards. But really, it wasn't even that. For me and many other people that were analytical and into the stats, A.J. Brown, another game of 125 or more yards and a touchdown. An absolute baller of a performance. And the brotherly shove is actually stopped. We saw it get stopped, but a good win for the Eagles, 38-31.
I'm about to get sidetracked here real quick. I don't know why I just thought about this, but bro, R.I.P. the dude, Adam Johnson, the hockey, bro.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That was really scary to watch. If you guys didn't see,
That's
Adam Johnson.
That's manslaughter, bro.
Passed away shortly after getting cut by a skate in the neck. Very, very sad stuff.
I hate to say it, I just did not look like an accident, bro. I don't know much about the sport, but I don't know how your left leg is coming up that high to someone's neck in that sport of hockey. R.I.P. Adam Johnson. That's fucking insane.
I was just a little it was I'm nauseous watching that video. I mean, you can just see his jersey is already covered in the blood, and he passed out on the ice from the crazy amount of blood loss. Just super sad. For the sport, obviously, it doesn't shine a good light on that, but RIP to everybody and his family and friends involved in this tragic event. But let's go back to football here. 38-31, Eagles win this one. I did not mention this though. Did you see? Is this real with Kenny Gainwell? Is that real?
I thought it was real. I saw a screen recording. I thought it was real. You're talking about the messages.
The messages at 2:05 at halftime in the locker room.
Recording.
Isn't that shit that you can easily get
I don't know if you can fake a screen recording.
Can you get kicked off the squad for that shit?
No, bro. No. People go on their phone at halftime. I just don't. I hope it's fake, but the screen recording came out. I don't know if you can fake it. If you know you can fake it, let me know. A.J. Brown breaking the record's insane, by the way. I don't know how, that might take a while for it to get broken. There's a couple people in the league right now that could rival that, but that's insane.
Who says he's not going to keep doing it too?
That's what I'm saying. Who's stopping him?
Who's stopping it?
Jalen Hurts look really good. One thing that, it's just a great dub all around for the Birds, fighting adversity again. Like I say, every other week, we fight adversity every single week, but for some reason, the Commanders and Sam Howell see the Eagles on the schedule,
bro, and
they expect to get off. It's not like, oh, it's the Birds, it's a tough game. First of all, we can't sack Sam Howell. How many sacks do we have against him? Because we were getting good pressure. One,
bro.
We were getting really good pressure on two. I don't know how many sacks we got him in the last game. I think it was 1 or 2. He's just a slippery motherfucker. Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, and Terry McLaurin. That trio is underrated. It's probably the second best wide receiver trio in the NFC East because obviously we have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Sorry about it. And Cowboys fans, I know you're pissed about that, but you guys do not have a better wide receiver core than the Commanders. I'm sorry about it. But another good dub for the Birds. We keep it pushing. The Beverly shove, you talk about getting stopped, but then we pulled a trickery out for all of the DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown, better sweaters. You got your TD. Nick Sirianni's a troll, but fuck it. We get the W. Cool. Oh, we also need to address this problem at right guard. We had Tyler Steen come in to replace Opeta. He looked a little better. That's an issue. Kevin Byard looked okay, a little bit adjusting to a new defense, but we're fine. It's the Birds, baby. Best team in football. There was never a doubt, like we said, but
yeah, you said it. Yeah, I'll give you that. You said it last week or 2 weeks ago that even when everybody was still all over the 49ers, you said you gradually started saying, Yes, the 49ers this. Yes, the 49ers that. But I still think the Eagles are better than the 49ers. And I still wasn't really on that train. And then once we get to the 49ers, we will break that down as well. But it really does seem that like the Eagles are obviously the best team in the NFC. Next week they do play the Cowboys. Are the Cowboys now the threat in the NFC against them? Yeah. Or is it still the 49ers?
Both of those teams. That Cowboys matchup is gonna be dope. I still think we probably handle them.
At home, 425.
Yeah, I think we handle them. But it is between those couple of teams. And there's some low-key sleeper teams like I've been saying. The Rams, the Seahawks is out there. So there's some sleeper teams. It's not gonna be no cake.
I do also have to shine some light before we move on to the New York Giants and that absolute shit show. Jalen Hurts. What did you say last week? Is Jalen Hurts a lock for over minus half half an interception? And he did not have a pick yesterday. Jalen Hurts,
attaboy.
No turnovers. How about that?
Excellent game.
All right, pretty good game.
He's limping a lot though.
Yeah, that's something to work.
People say Jay Glazer came out and said bone bruise. I think sprained MCL.
Okay, so we saw Tyrod Taylor crack the ribs. You know he went to the hospital too, right? Yeah. And Kenny Pickett hurt his ribs too. He didn't go to the hospital. Tyrod Taylor goes to the hospital. We get to see Syracuse, Saquon Barkley, and Syracuse Tommy DeVito, who I was calling Danny DeVito all day for no reason. 13-10 win for the Jets. We got to just talk about some things here. I get it's a rainy day. I really do. 8 passing yards. I get it's wet. Football's wet. But ever giving the football to Saquon Barkley 36 times in the game is ridiculous. And I didn't even feel like that was the case when I was watching the game. But afterwards, and you see how many times he was utilized. And I get it. 8 passing yards. I wasn't really focused on that. A lot of people were saying you got to throw the ball in the situations. I was mainly focused on the fact that you had 2 missed field goals. This game should have never went to overtime. And regardless that Danny came in or Tommy, whoever the fuck his name is, sorry, disrespectful, but third string quarterback, Syracuse, I don't care who it is. They still were up in this game, and there was not even I didn't have a second of a thought of a doubt in my mind that they were ever going to lose this game. And then, I don't know, it's pass interference after pass interference, defensive holding, Deonte Banks letting up the most amount of yards in man coverage this season to Garrett Wilson after 62 in weeks 1 through 7. And then in week 8 against Garrett Wilson is allowing 72 yards in man-to-man coverage. It's the most all year. That's obviously the shock for me. But in that case, there is zero reason Graham Gano, who's been the most loyal on this team, to come in and be clutch and get shit done. And we missed 2 field goals, and they end up losing this game in overtime, which never should have went to overtime. I just fucking hate seeing Jets fans happy. I really do. I Giants own MetLife, and now it's all the narrative. Oh, the Jets.
You guys are the little brother now.
And I also don't think that Zach Wilson played that great. He had those 2 bad turnovers, those 2 bad fumbles. Yeah. He made a couple good throws. It was not a good game from Zach Wilson.
Well, Zach Wilson also had the best 2-minute drill of the NFL season so far.
That's true. I mean, he also got help with some calls.
But it all starts, and this is where Kayvon Thibodeau could not jump off sides.
I know.
Gives him a free play, gives Zach Wilson the confidence to push that ball down the field to Garrett Wilson, regardless of what happens. He did get open. I'm pretty sure it was Deonte Banks was on there, but it was zone. Get that. That's a 40, 50-yard chunk on the first play of a 2-minute drill. Next play, Zach Wilson rolls out, finds it. I forget who he finds rolling out. That's another 20, 30 yards. Yes, they only had to get a field goal, but they could have possibly, if they wanted to, scored a touchdown if Graham Gano did make field goals. That was one of I don't know. I'd be completely ready to throw if I see Zach Wilson march my team down the field like that. Saquon Barkley did have a lot of involvement in his football game, but he had to. I'm not really too mad about that. Versus Jets defense, Giants fans, do you really want Tommy DeVito to be airing that joint? Obviously, you want to see it.
Right.
8 passing yards that's insane.
Dude, I don't.
That's insane.
How did two quarterbacks combine to throw the ball 14 times, and Zach Wilson's throwing it 17 times, but he's, attempting to throw the ball 36 times, attempting to throw the ball for the New York Giants 14 times. I don't understand it. The defense is now, this is 3 straight weeks where this defense has, we look at Washington. That team put up 31 on the Eagles yesterday.
Right.
Giants held them last week in MetLife to 7. Held the Bills to 14 or 13, whatever that was. And then you come here for this Jets team, you're holding them to 13 points. They had no chance. There was a 7-point game until the last 2 minutes of this game.
I just think like even the
dude.
first play of that 2-minute drive, like why are your DB 30 yards off the ball?
Bad teams are bad teams.
Like that, I'm just like they're acting like it's a hail. Like, I understand we're in prevent, but we can get in prevent with our DBs like at the 10-yard mark or at the 15-yard mark. We are 30 yards off the ball. Like Garrett Wilson's just sprinting at Deontay Banks in zone with no one near him for 20 yards. Like that was ugly to watch.
It's literally just like teams that it's hard to really try to lose football games. And what I saw today, this morning on First Take, is Molly was showing this ESPN win probability. There was a point in this game, from what Molly and Stephen A. and Shannon had on First Take this morning, there was a moment in this game where the Giants were win probability at 99.9% to win this football game. You got to be kidding me. And it's just bad teams bad teams are bad teams. Bad teams find ways to lose. Bad teams don't find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose. And that's exactly what the Giants did here. This is a game they needed to have. Now moving to 2-6, have the Raiders next week. The last 3 games of the year are the Eagles, the Rams, and the Eagles. So you got to think, you got to get like the scrappy wins now to even give yourself a shot for those last three games of the year. Tough loss, bad loss, disappointing loss, and the Giants moved to 2-6. That's just not good football for a piss poor Giants team. It's a roller coaster of emotions with this team. Let's head to real quick on this Thursday night game. I know this was a couple of days ago. We'll talk real quick on it. The Bills at home beating the Buccaneers 24-18. Game that was a lot closer than it needed to be. Good game for Josh Allen though, and Chris Godwin gets in the end zone for the first time that I actually saw live this season. And Baker actually looked okay in that game. Again, I know it was on Thursday. Tough to look back that far, but I think Baker had a good game. He looked really well. Still shaky on the run game for the Bills. But again, I'm still not really so high on the Bills. I'm not as scared as I was for the Bills. Again, I still need a division bet, so I'm going to be rooting for them, but I'm still not as scared as the Bills being that, top dog in the AFC right now. They are still in the conversation. They're just not one of them.
Like I said last week, for this Bills team to be as good as they always have been, they need Josh Allen to run the ball, and I'm pretty sure, in 7 for 41. It was not 2 for 14.
Right.
And that's all it takes. You don't got to rush it 15 times. You don't got to have 80 rushing yards. He's not Lamar. But that 7 for 41, a couple scrambles, a couple design runs helped break this game open. It was not a 7-point game like it was. But 2 things. Number 1, if Chris Godwin got his body turned a second, and it's not his fault. He was just getting punched, bumped around by other players. But if he got his body turned literally 0.5 seconds earlier, the game is over.
Game's over.
Second thing. Oh my God, I had a parlay. I'm pretty sure it was I should look at my phone for the shot. Forgot about it. But it was like a 10-legger, 250 to win 100. Just one of those regular, I'm going to put this in for the game. Fuck it. Last leg is Mike Evans for 40 yards. And they're running the fucking 2-minute drill to set up the Hail Mary. It is 2nd and 10, Alex. It was 2nd and 9. No, it was 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10. Mike Evans runs a curl to the sticks. Baker kind of duck arms it a little bit, leads him back to the sideline a couple yards in. It's an 8-yard catch. Mike Evans had 31 yards at that point. Ends with 39.
Finishes with 39. Yeah, I just noticed that. 39 yards on that parlay. Actually, unbelievable. What was that, the 4,200 odds lay, or was that a different one? That was different. Just a same game parlay for that game?
Yeah, for that game.
That's unbelievable. I mean, look, Bucks are still fighting away to try to, stay in that division. They look good enough for a team that's still in it, for a new quarterback Baker in that system. I get it. We're now 8 weeks into football, and they're already done their bye. So, hey, Saints, Falcons, look out. It's going to be a sweat. It's going to be a dogfight. Definitely something to keep an eye on, because I know it's not amazing, amazingly exciting teams to watch. It's still going to be a fun race down the stretch. Let's kick it over to one of our crazier games here in terms of point scoring. Talk about a lot about unders last week that missed on teams that never were going to get an over out of the Chiefs. Out of the Colts and the Browns. This week, the Rams and the Cowboys in Dallas, 43-20 from the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott solidifying and continuing to prove me wrong. As I have said multiple times, Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. And here we are again. Dak Prescott, 4 touchdowns, well over 300 yards, and a big win, dominant win for the Cowboys, who now are 5-2 And what we talked about with the Eagles game, one of the biggest threats for them, obviously, coming up this week.
Okay, the Cowboys start to roll a little bit. CD. What I want to check in with the statement we made last week. Is Puka Nacua the lock? And is Cooper Kupp, do we need to put him down the list in terms of the lock when it comes to wide receivers? Because he was a lock of the year the last 2 years. And 4 for 21 for Cooper Kupp.
After 2 for 29 last week.
Puka Nacua didn't hit. But the only thing I can announce is I don't know if we can bet Cooper, bro.
I know, dude. I had him to
His
score.
line was 86.5. What was he to score? Like plus 115, plus 130?
Plus 155.
Oh, that's a beautiful line.
Yep.
Yeah, we might have to put Cooper to rest.
I don't get it. Because in the 2 weeks that he came back,
what's going on?
He had like a touchdown, like 15 catches, and like 258 yards. Like crazy numbers for like his first 2 weeks back after, missing the first 4 weeks of the year. And then now back-to-back weeks where, I mean, am I still going to continue starting him in my fantasy team? That's what we're talking about.
Wow. Do you start Cooper Kupp in fantasy? That's actually a great question.
I mean, this is now back-to-back weeks where I can't be having a 7 spot from Cooper when he's projected at least 16 or more every week.
No, we can't be doing that.
So we got to start looking at the bench pieces or people in there. But over to the game's sake, it's just like an air it out mentality. When they have
who can guard CD?
That's what I mean. But when they have when they don't have really the run game going and like CD's working or Dak's clicking within the system of the offense and reading the defense well, they rarely run the ball and they really are successful with the ball, and they just like beat the pass to death, and that's kind of what we saw with CD.
It's a little sickening if you had Tony Pollard.
I had him to score.
To score is nasty.
There's 43 points in the game.
And he doesn't get one of them.
What are we talking about?
Rushing yards nasty. I'm pretty sure he doesn't clear that line. And it's like we have a blowout. And we can't get Tony Pollard damn. Like, I'm pouring one out for y'all.
Jake Ferguson.
First touchdown pass. We missed the whales.
Oh, man. Good game, though, for the Cowboys. I understand how it can be a somewhat of an overreaction. We know Pat McAfee always likes to say it's overreaction Monday. I can understand how this can be somewhat of an overreaction because, again, going into the link next week in Philly against the Eagles, I don't see the Cowboys being that, putting up a 43 spot, beating them like this. I don't even see the Cowboys winning the game. I don't know, maybe like a 24-17, 27-17, some game like that. But I think we're overreacting maybe a little bit just because of the points that were scored. And again, the Rams defense doesn't match to the Eagles defense, nor does the team. But I think this is exciting. It's just funny for Cowboys fans because next week they're going to get all this hype and be like, oh yeah, we're going to beat the Birds now. Now we're the best team in the NFC. But we'll see. I still believe that the Eagles win that one. Moving on now to the Justin Jefferson list. And now, unfortunately, Kirk Cousins-less Minnesota Vikings. They get the job done in Green Bay at Lambeau Field, 24-10. Addison again. Why didn't I take him? I think I was just being too lazy, but I didn't take Addison to get in the end zone. We got to do that moving forward.
I did.
Of course you did.
I didn't get 2. He dropped the second one.
But huge shout out to Kirk because he knew that season was done. I saw the videos. We saw him like getting on the cart, clapping, let's go, oh, cheering, man. Maybe you will not return. Maybe that was your last couple snaps played and your last snap played in a Minnesota Vikings uniform. What does that mean for Justin Jefferson? From his comments saying he might want to get out and follow Kirk wherever he goes. Nonetheless, the Vikings get a win for their guy, Kirk Cousins, who does go down, hoping for a speedy recovery. Enough with the Achilles injuries this year. Now we got 2 quarterbacks down through that same injury. But a good win for the Vikings for Kirk Cousins, 24-10.
Yeah, like, damn, Kirk.
It's sad.
You got people, they crying for him. Mm-hmm. Kirk's not even, Kirk don't, I'm not saying he don't care. But Kirk is just taking it to the chin. His team is crying for him. They ain't cry for Rodgers. Like, they hate on Kirk, but how they receive you where you live at, where your home's at, says a lot about you. Kirk went down. It seemed like, they still won the game, but it just seemed like that was like, it just took everything out of him. Not in a sense where they couldn't play anymore, but it was like, we just lost our guy, like our real leader. Kirk really holds that place down. And that quarterback show really shined a light on Kirk Cousins because he was always catching so much hate because he just couldn't win a primetime game. Like, oh, well. Kirk Cousins you know what I mean? He's a good quarterback. Like, and I hate that it takes shit like this for people to finally start talking about it. This is a really fucked up situation if you were the Vikings because we were just talking about the possibility of Kirk getting traded. That win might have been holding him back. Now it's like, okay, we do see Aaron Rodgers walking around and throwing balls, right now, let's say Kirk Cousins going on an ayahuasca trip. If I'm a GM, I'm still down to sign him. Just go fuck with Aaron. Right. He could be a formidable quarterback for a team, and I don't know who it's going to be. There's a couple teams that come to mind off the rip. That if their quarterbacks kind of falter next year, he could come in. But
I think it's going to be pretty neat to see how Aaron Rodgers has a role in this of kind of helping Kirk through it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with providing some of the stuff that he's gone through. I mean, he's walking.
Imagine Kirk Cousins in Atlanta.
He was off his crutches in 6 weeks, so obviously he's doing something crazy. But yeah, I'm curious to see where he goes.
We'll get to that game later. But
Des
Ridder got benched at half. Kirk got an injury, get traded. Kirk in Atlanta with Drake, Pitts, Bijan. Oh no, Arthur, you should make a call.
Hey, I was ready to write.
You should make a call.
I was ready to write the Vikings off and say, it's wraps. It's under wraps. Goodbye, Minnesota. Goodbye. And Detroit is now taking this. But if you look at this schedule, let's just look at the next 4 games here for the Vikings. In Atlanta against the Falcons, home against the Saints, in Denver against the Broncos, and home against the Bears.
I got 1 and 3. I got 3 losses in a row.
But it's not like they're playing juggernaut teams where they can at least. I mean, they're 500 right now.
Right.
It's like they still can compete for a wild card spot.
Falcons. I don't like that. They have Heineke now. Heineke probably might start with the benching of Desmond Ridder, and we know what teams do when they get him starting, and that's at home. Then we go. Where do we go after that?
It's Falcons, Saints, Denver.
Saints, that's just a tough matchup.
And then Chicago.
Broncos, they're playing good football right now, and then they could beat the Bears.
And 11-19, it's probably going to be chilly in Denver, Mile High City.
I hate that for them. RIP Vikings fans, man.
Yeah, that sucks. But, hey, look, 500. Yeah. Look, they were 2-4. You beat the 49ers last week on prime time.
Beat Chiefs.
And now you come here and you got to win after your quarterback goes down. This was a team that easily could have been, instead of 2-4, 2-6 like the New York Giants after these last 2 games. So big stuff there. Let's move to one of my favorite games and my favorite stories of the weekend. The Tennessee Titans and Mr. Mayo in his coffee, Will Levis himself. 4 touchdowns. Gia Huddy, where you at? Hey, Will, you dropped this, King. You dropped this. Put that crown back on. 4 touchdowns, making DeAndre Hopkins look good with the dimes, and a big win, 28-23 over the Falcons. What a absolute performance in your NFL debut. Will Levis, I will give you all the props in the world for that performance. Way to go, bub.
Boy, Will Levis. That's all it took. Just a shot. Just need a chance to make it a full game. Don't care if it's the Falcons. Don't care if Jesse Bates is back there, because we finally have a Titans quarterback. We've been through Tannehill, Malik. We get to Will Levis. Finally, someone's like, oh my God, D-Hop's going to be down there. I could just throw it up to him. Holy shit.
Hey, and let's also
What a wild concept. This guy who's made his living in the league by getting the ball thrown up to him in space. Why don't we just try it?
Some of those passes is not like they were on the money either. Like one of them, the first touchdown was a little behind him.
No, exactly.
Great job. Way to get it down the field.
The thing I liked about Will Levis, though, even on the plays that he was throwing up to D-Hop, you can clearly see that D-Hop was not the first read, especially the first one on the left side of the sideline when he was on A.J. Terrell. One thing I like the most about Will Levis, honestly, and he didn't have perfect ball placement. His throws weren't, like we said, insanely accurate. But he was scanning the field really well for someone starting the game for the first time. Going from right to left, finding my guy on the deep ball. I don't know. Will Levis looked really nice.
And the leadership,
really nice.
And the leadership mentality out of him as well in the press conference after, talking about, hey, when Malik's coming out, you're booing him. And he's like, that's like as fans, we got to be better and respect this guy because he's been here longer and he's got to I just understand what he's trying to say there.
Yeah, 100%.
Leadership mentality, especially after a game like that. How can you not like this story? How can you not like what he did in his first performance, his first NFL game?
Derrick Henry's also putting a nice stock for his trade bait.
I'm telling you what,
his trade bait stock
going up. Can you
up?
tell me why the fuck I saw some shit all over social media, all over ESPN, on NFL Live that the Eagles might be a good landing spot for Derrick Henry? Dude, for what?
I mean,
I understand it's Derrick Henry, but
I was about to say,
D Swift is there, bro. What are we doing?
You could always have 2 of them.
Oh my God.
You could always just have 2.
And these guys get Julio Jones. We didn't even say Julio Jones got a fucking end zone.
Yeah, the end zone. They get the end zone.
Oh my God. But good game for the Tennessee Titans. Really just wanted to highlight D-Hop, those top 3 performers. D-Hop, Will Levis, obviously, and Derrick Henry with the trade bait there. And Gia Huddy. Just because he wasn't famous and like this big NFL superstar right when he got drafted, don't mean you got to quit on him, okay? Okay, because now he's that guy, and he can put that crown back on, and you could just sit there and laugh.
Never know. You might see that resurface. Something.
Maybe.
You know how it goes.
All right, over to Indianapolis. The Colts. Wow. Losing at home, 38-27 to the Saints. Huge game for the Saints here. I'm very locked into the Saints because I do have a future of them to win the division. Big win. There was multiple times in this game where they just were trying to find ways to lose the game.
Absolutely. Saints
like
football.
It's just Saints football. There was a multiple times in this game where it's like you're sweating. I mean, you're biting your fingernails. I was watching Red Zone. I was sweating at the bar watching this goddamn game. I'm like, guys, what are we doing? We're about to lose this game, or we're gonna try to. But hey, Derek Carr, like, this is a guy that everybody has been like very iffy. You know,
he's iffy.
We've somewhat stepped forward into talking really like well about him, but we've also come back a lot in recent games. Now I think we're kind of back on that wavelength of wait a minute, Derek. Can you lead this team to a division title? Possibly, but I need it to happen. Good win there for the Saints, and what this means for the Colts. Still putting up a lot of points, but it means a lot to see Gardner Minshew in this role like he was last year. And helping do what he can to try to keep his team in some football games down the stretch.
We had JT back snapping. It's always good to see him back doing his thing.
Yep.
But like I've said from week one about the Saints team, the X factor is speed Rashid Shaheed.
I like that.
Every game. And if we're going to keep it a bean, if Speed Shaheed doesn't put up 150, how highly are we talking about Derek Carr?
True.
And those were like three beautiful balls by Derek Carr, but it's just
right.
Speed Shaheed just doing his thing, getting loose. Olave did cost Derek Carr as well, though. Derek Carr, they could have looked that much better if Olave wanted to catch the ball or just not have the ball hit his helmet or just be a little more locked in. They were getting frustrated with each other last week. Olave gets arrested, obviously, for going a little fast on his bike. Plays this week, ball's going off his helmet. I don't know what's going on with that because I think that the Olave, Thomas, Speed, Shaheed trio, AK's out there too. That should be absolutely unstoppable.
I guess I really...
They won the game, guys. I know. I'm just saying, but I just want to see a little more Olave.
I guess me too, for fantasy purposes. But I guess still speaking on the side of fantasy, I guess I really just folded on the fact that I didn't think Alvin Kamara was going to be like
that big of
a point score for fantasy. I mean,
he's
2
everything.
touchdowns,
He's everything.
and he's getting a lot, like especially in PPR leagues is really why I'm saying that, because when you're getting, obviously this game, it wasn't that high, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 catches per game, where you're getting those 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points per catch. I mean, he still is putting up high numbers when it's in yards for rushing and receiving, and he's scoring every single game, which is 6 points on either rushing or receiving. So
how did Zach Moss contort his body on that touchdown too? I thought he was going to break every bone in his body, have his legs, his kneecaps. Like, shout out to him because he put his life on the line for that touchdown. Let's go
to Miami. 6-2 are the Dolphins now in a big divisional win in Miami. 31-17 over the Pats. 2 over 3 scores. Waddle getting involved. Tyreek getting involved. This is just a very week in, week out. We talk about it. I say it all the time. Week in and week out, we see how explosive, how fun to watch this offense is, and they do it every single week. 6-2 go to the Dolphins on a 31-17 victory.
I would be extremely pissed off, honestly, if I was like a corner and I watched Tyreek Hill burn me, catch it, and then just not even celebrate, just sprint to the bench.
Yep.
Just sprint to the bench. And all his whole team just chasing after him. I'm just like, what the fuck? This guy just don't stop moving.
Dude's crazy.
Really good to see Waddle get off.
Yep.
Mac Jones, up and down day. Still turn the ball over.
At least it wasn't 3.
It was not terrible. It was not great. It was not terrible, though. Had a bad beat. Told one of my boys, send me all your picks you like today. Compiled a list of picks that he liked.
Okay.
Kamara Tutty, Mostert Tutty.
Okay.
There was one more Tutty I'm missing. We cashed one more Tutty, and then we needed the under in this game, and we get the Miami Dolphins just marching down the field, down last possession, score 7.
Game's over.
Unbank us.
Oh, man.
It's all right, though. Good Dolphins W. They're looking. Oh, by the way, Jalen Ramsey, first game back.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Very nice. Very nice.
All over the field.
Did you see what Coach Mike saying after? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tell him. He was joking, obviously, but he's like, I'm going to tell him, man, that pick should have turned into 6, and instead it turned into 3, but he stepped out of bounds. So he just messed it around because he didn't take it to the house.
Probably should have turned to 6, but that, I was talking real heavy that the Eagles beat Miami. Jalen Ramsey wasn't there. I know it's the Pats, but Jalen Ramsey looks like he might be the X factor
you know
of that
what?
defense.
It would have been crazy to see what that matchup would have been. Can you
Him
imagine?
and AJ?
AJ Brown and Jalen Ramsey, what a fight that would have been.
And then he's stepping up in the run game as well, taking away side of the field. The first run of the side of the field, he forced a fumble.
I guess you're just going to have to wait to see if the Eagles play the Dolphins at the Super Bowl, and then you can see that matchup again. You like
Should
that?
we just bet that exacta? Eagles over Dolphins in Super Bowl plus 5,000.
I wonder what that is. I really wonder what that is.
Bro.
Okay, moving on. So we got some more division games there. Good stuff with with the Dolphins there. We're gonna move now to Jacksonville, in Pittsburgh. We got some fun things to talk about in this game. Not as exciting of a game, but in the post game, a lot of the guys on the Steelers wanted to make it exciting. A 20-10 victory for the Jags. Kenny Pickett goes down. Big rib injury there. Don't know the status on him for next week yet.
Nah, he ain't gonna play.
Probably not. The big thing that I took away is some Steelers players, Coach Mike Tomlin, very, very upset with the calls on the field, saying that the refs handed the game away. And to some of those calls, I do agree with that they were just blatantly wrong. I don't believe that those were the reasons why they lost the game, but in this situation, a 20-10 victory for the Jags. And let's think about this. It's a gritty team out of the Jacksonville Jaguars who are now 6-2. Again, we know what they did last year. We know they had a shot against the Chiefs in the playoffs, but I don't think we would have had the Jags at 6-2 after 8 weeks of football. Maybe that's just me.
Nah, I was hopeful on the Jags. My guys down Duval. You know how I feel. This was a game that the big boys in Vegas were called a trap. Vegas only set the line at 2. Motherfuckers is like, huh? They about to, and then it's one of those days in Pittsburgh. It's cold. It's rainy. It's like foggy out there. When they're doing the little red zone thing before the game, when they show the weather, I didn't take it. I'm like, damn, I think Pittsburgh probably, this is like a Pittsburgh win, Mike Tomlin win type of day.
Gritty weather win for Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And that's a statement for the Duvalians down there. We get dubs like this. ETN goes off every week. We're going to have to add him to the lock list. ETN touchdown again. Adam Thielen, we'll get to him again. It's the lock list keeps him pushing. Guys down, we're going to have to, are they the best team in the AFC? We had the matchup. Now, the Chiefs did win the head-to-head. But the Chiefs arguably look worse in their losses than the Jags do.
Right.
Do have the Ravens out there. It's just a question we're going to have to ask.
Yeah, there's a question that we
Who is the best team in the AFC right now? I'm gonna let the y'all in the comment section figure it out for yourselves. I don't know.
It's something to monitor with these big name teams. Bills, Chiefs, Miami's still in there. Jacksonville's still in there. Obviously, Baltimore. Like, there's 5 teams right there where you can interchange a lot of them, especially based on the week-to-week performances. The Chiefs, Ravens didn't have that great of a performance against this team, which we are going to get to, especially after the Lions win last week. Okay, so let's go to the Texans and Panthers. I did watch the majority of this game. Wasn't really trying to, but the Panthers get their very first win of the season, and that means Mr. Bryce Young, gets his first NFL victory. A good performance for his team. And Frank Reich, hey, listen, maybe your name was on a chopping block. How long were we going to let it go until we were going to let you go? Gets the win here against the Texans, who, hey, CJ Stroud, again, I know it wasn't the best performance, but still will be, in my book, of the best QB in the class. Obviously, we don't have Anthony Richardson to talk about. I understand that. But Bryce Young, good performance there. And here's your boy, Adam Thielen. Does it again. 8 catches, 72 yards.
The lock list.
I believe it was 55.5 or 53.5.
How? And I'm pretty sure his receptions had to be like 5.5.
I'm sure it was 5.5.
And it was like minus crazy juice. The books got to wake up to Adam Thielen. Now, it's always a marquee matchup when the top 2 picks, the quarterbacks always face off. Didn't get to see what I wanted to see from CJ Stroud. The Panthers had something to prove today. Bryce Young looked good, though.
Yep.
Moving around the pocket, getting sacked, still bouncing back from it. Had a couple plays where he rolled to the pocket, found Thielen down the field. Just good to see my boys, you know what I mean? Nice little dub for them. Raheem Blackshear, Philly product, some kick returns look good.
It looked like an absolute gorgeous day in Carolina. So those guys down there.
70 fucking degrees.
Those guys down in Carolina, you guys caught your first win. I cheered on your young NFL quarterback getting his first victory in the NFL.
Miles Sanders. What I was getting to, though.
What's that?
Miles Sanders talked a lot of shit about not getting the ball in the Super Bowl. Talked a lot of shit about his role on the Eagles. Go back to that box score real quick. Just want you to see.
See what you're talking about here.
What was it? Just us, Miles?
So I'm gonna flash that on the screen.
Was it just
2 carries, 0 yards? He had a long of 4. So after he got that 4-yard carry,
He's had some flashes down Carolina, but it's been much of the same. You have some flashes, but can we trust you as number 1 marquee running back? I don't know. Were we incorrect, Miles? I miss you. I mean, he was my guy, but
I think DeAndre Swift is
a little better.
The better guy. Not even just the better guy. The better guy for the Philadelphia Eagles.
For the pockets, for the team.
Definitely for the pockets. Where does Miles Sanders go from here?
Keep sacking his bread.
I guess so. I mean,
it's 70 degrees on Halloween. And
that's true.
He got his. I don't know how mad he can be. Hopefully, he learned how to golf or something. You know,
hey, that's right.
Watching F1 and shit, he's probably all right.
Okay, moving on to the throwback game here in Seattle. Wow. I actually do really fuck with these jerseys. The Seattle's throwbacks. They are very, very sick. A big win there against a top defense in the league out of the Cleveland Browns. We won't have to talk about it, but a 24-20 win over the Browns, moving the Seattle Seahawks to 5-2. Geno Smith with 2 interceptions, but he does have those 2 touchdowns as well. In a game where, again, we have to go watch P.J. Walker attempt to dot the field up like he did last week, and he did fall a little bit short yesterday.
Listen, I mean, the Seahawks just came out ridiculously hot. Geno Smith is like breaking sacks, finding Tyler Lockett in the corner of the end zone. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet might be one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. That looked hard to stop early on in the game.
Don't understand.
17 first quarter points for the Seahawks. You think it's over. And then this Cleveland defense that I was talking about just turns up. Nothing until the last drive of the game. 2 turnovers on Geno Smith. PJ Walker doing his thing. The one turnover, I think it was a Jamal Adams tip pass, not too mad about. Did have one pick that was his fault, but brings them back, takes the lead. Like, we look where everything's moving. We're doing our thing where everything looks great. Then we let the Seahawks just walk down the field. JSN Tud end the game. This is a big dub for Seahawks. They were 4-2. Obviously, that race is getting crazy. It's moving to 5-2.
I know.
This could have been a swing win for the Browns because they get another double with their third string quarterback. This was a low-key entertaining ass game. Sloppy as fuck. 2 teams trying to hang each other the ball game. Good to see Geno and my boys get another W though. Another thing to talk about when it comes to the gambling side. If you had DK Metcalf receptions, that's insane. 5 receptions on 14 targets. How do you get 5 receptions on 14 targets? What is happening? Well, if you had DK over, bro, receptions over, there are comment sections a safe place.
Facts. Just like it is every week.
That's not okay. That's not okay. You didn't deserve that one. You really didn't.
Yep. A couple more to go here in this NFL Week 8. If you're enjoying this on YouTube, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. And our Apple Podcasts and Spotify listeners, you know what to do. Hit those ratings on the bottom. Over to the Mile High City in Denver. The Kansas City Chiefs lose in a very, very sloppy, cold weather, snow game in Denver. They lose 24-9. Wow. Very disappointing. And guess what? What did we talk about last week on this specific, particular show? We talked about Taylor Swift and the narrative that has been set because she's in attendance for Travis Kelce's performance. And is this me being wrong? Because Travis Kelce hit his under in receiving yards yesterday. And guess who was not in attendance in the box? Well, Taylor Swift. So maybe I was wrong. But the Broncos, they get a win here and a huge divisional win. First time in 8 years that they have beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And 24-9. And you send the Chiefs to 6-2. And like we were talking about earlier, about the teams that have losses, like the better teams that have 2, maybe 3 losses, these are the types of losses that make them look like they're not as much as a powerhouse anymore, right? Because they're much more sloppy than any other, loss, like the Eagles, So and the 49ers are now doing that sloppy stuff too. So big win for the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson and Sean Payton obviously very happy with this one.
It's just a week-to-week league. Pat Mahomes continues, like I say. Sometimes he looks extremely regular. It's another day where, some of these turnovers just don't look good. But I'm not taking too much from this game. This was a huge get-right spot for the Broncos. I mean, they just looked terrible yet again. Sean Payton looked like Nathaniel Hackett V2. I know that guy has a shit ton of pride. Russell Wilson has a shit ton of pride. Jerry Jeudy's getting called just an average guy. Like, this was just a big... They're at home. It's like... just like the Steelers game. It's like rainy, foggy, a little sloppy. Like, all right, Broncos, get y'all get-back spot. Got a couple turnovers. We happy for y'all. Y'all can actually play real football. Murdered my ticket. Fuck y'all for that. But I'm happy for y'all that y'all can play real football.
It's also situational football, too. I believe if this game was in Kansas City, Denver gets their asses kicked, handed to.
What is your fantasy situation with running back? Does anyone in your league have Javonte Williams?
Yeah, a bunch of people do. I don't know exactly if they have him as a flex position or they are utilizing him as a running back, too. But this was the right game to get. I mean, just looking at the numbers here, 27 carries. I know it's a cold game.
That's like 3 straight weeks he had, I think, with like 16, 17, 18, 19 points.
Let's also look
might have to get in your Howie Roseman bag.
I know, facts.
Try to find a way to get Javonte over to that team because I think they're realizing the trend here. We got to establish a run with this team. We're not going to have Russell Wilson throwing the ball 50 times, getting him killed back there.
Here's the deal.
So look.
With the Chiefs, they have to figure out. We know that Travis Kelce is like the quote-unquote wide receiver one. But they have to figure out how they're going to utilize anybody else in the passing game besides Travis Kelce. Remember you see the back of the end zone, Sky Moore was wide open, almost a basket catch, kind of just bobbled it, dropped it. There's a touchdown right there. I know it's cold. I know it hits the hands harder. It's much harder, situations to play in. But, I mean, you bring McCole Hardman Jr. back to try to figure some things out, and maybe he was the only guy that, I don't know if another team really was dying hard to get McCole Hardman back, but I don't know. I think that
I just thought this was the guy that didn't need all that. That's what I thought.
That's true. Everybody said
that's what I thought. That's what I heard. That's what I was told. I was told he didn't need all that.
Everybody said Patrick
Sky
Mahomes
Moore did drop
that.
the touchdown pass. That changed the game because
100%.
They score there. We already know how the Chiefs get rolling when that shit like that happens.
I mean, we have to find it's not that we're finding somebody else that's going to be.
We do need to find somebody.
It's just I don't mean. I mean, look, trade deadline's coming up, but I just mean if it's not somebody on this team, if it's not any of these guys that we drafted this year, that can be a solid guy to accent Travis Kelce, then what are we... I don't understand what we're talking about here because now we're just seeing... I understand, sloppy game. Patrick Mahomes is having a little trouble having to deal with just throwing the ball to Travis Kelce. And having his receivers kind of let him down in the end zone like Sky Moore did yesterday. That's all that was. Okay, moving on here. Oh, this is going to be a fun one for the gamblers out there. Can't wait to showcase this one. The Ravens and the Cardinals in Arizona. Ravens, kind of a sloppy win here after a huge blowout win against the Detroit Lions last week. They go to Arizona and gets a dog shit, now 1-7 team. Ravens moved to 6-2 on this win, but again, pretty sloppy win. Not going to put them on this pedestal of top of the AFC just yet because of this, but still a good win and keeping them in the running 6-2. Let's talk about this, though. I want to pull this tweet up from BR Betting. If you had the Ravens minus 9.5, the Cardinals score a touchdown, and then they go for 2 and miss. They kick an onside kick after that, and they recover the onside kick. And then they kick a field goal with down 10 with 30 seconds left, and they miss. But the Ravens were called for a false start on that field goal attempt, and they get to re-kick. And then they make the field goal with 25 seconds to go, and Cardinals plus 9.5 cashes. Just an awful beat. I'm not saying that this is a whole rigged comment that we've been talking about for this, a couple weeks of this NFL season, but that's just one of those bad beats that we had to highlight for our bettors.
That's the best one-win team in the history of football. Doing what the best one-win team in the history of football does. They make you sweat. You should be, I'm not going to say that, but you should be taking the Cardinals spread in a lot of situations, especially like this. But the Ravens did look good W. One thing I like about the Ravens, one thing I saw a couple more times this week, I saw it last week, we got Rashad Bateman winning big one-on-one catches down the field. And if they have that weapon to add on top of obviously Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews looked good, obviously killing every zone coverage at the Cardinals. It's so fun.
Hey, also,
if they're in the red zone and they try to run zone coverage, because you can't run man on Mark Andrews and them. They run zone and Mark Andrews just always finds the hole. He'll push a guy out the way, find the hole. First touchdown, Lamar Jackson's fading away on his back foot, one leg, finding Mark Andrews in the hole. It's actually unstoppable. And you could tell they're catching the rhythm with this offense.
Hey, my fault, Gus. My fault, Gus Bus. My fault, dude. Was told to pick you up in multiple fantasy leagues, and I faded you and I slept on you. My fault, dude. 3 touchdowns yesterday. Like, that's on me. I'll take that one on the chin. My fault. Very nice performance. I felt bad about that.
Yeah.
In the Guillotine League, my dad wants us to pick up Gus. I'm like, dude, like, I mean, I don't want to waste a lot of fab money on him. Like, I don't know. And then just actually annihilates. But okay. All right. My fault, dude.
We'll take that one on the chin.
Definitely will take that one on the chin. Okay. Moving on here, we got 2 games to go here in Week 8 of the NFL season. The Bengals in San Francisco. What the hell are the 49ers doing? What the hell are the 49ers doing at home? 31-17. Hey, Joe Burrow, you are back. Back and better than ever. Jamar Chase with 10 receptions and 100 yards. Got that big touchdown as well. This is what we really start to highlight here with Brock Purdy. Is he the real situational quarterback for them and can get them the wins? Or is he just the guy that was just there to fill the role and he's still filling that role until somebody else comes along? Because we really got to see yesterday inaccurate throws. Didn't really look that confident on the field out there. And that Bengals defense took advantage of him. And he had those 2 turnovers, and that was a huge, huge part of this 49ers team losing at home in their first loss at home, too. And a shocking last few weeks of football for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. This one is another one. This one ain't moved me too bad. The Bengals' historic bad start. Why are the Bengals 3-3 coming to this game? Why are the 49ers 5.5-point favorites coming to this game? A lot of people got set up with this one. I'm sorry if you got set up by the 49ers on this one. But, I mean, this guy had to have you can't win 18, 19 regular season games in a row. Like, this guy won 14 regular season games in a row last year. He is not an incredible starting quarterback. He's a good player. Obviously, he was going to come back down to a realization of it at some point. Bengals just made plays, though. I'm not as upset with the 49ers as I am happy for the Bengals. Jamar Chase went off. T. Higgins had some big catches. Joe Burrow looked really, really, really good. Looks like he's getting healthier in the pocket, moving around, finding guys when he's making moves. The pick they had when they were in the red zone, the first pick that Brock Purdy had was not Brock Purdy's fault. That's an amazing defensive play to be running down the quarterback, tip it to yourself, and catch it as a linebacker is a ridiculous play. You will not see that again for the rest of the year, by the way. Second pick, what the fuck is Brock Purdy looking at? Logan Wilson, one of the best middle linebackers in the league. Logan Wilson making Logan Wilson making a play. But as Brock Purdy, you have to know, especially running the 49ers offense, running the Kyle Shanahan offense, a lot of balls in the middle of the field. You're throwing out one of the best coverage middle linebackers in the league. You have to be able to find and locate that guy. That turnover was insanely bad and costly. Good to see Ayuk going off, though. Because Ayuk and Kittle were getting off. That's why I don't think it was that bad for Brock. It was the one play that they made the red zone that was a really good play, and then the Logan Wilson pick was bad. Besides that, he was finding Kittle. He was finding Ayuk. They were doing their thing. But that last turnover is the one where with Brock, it's like, we just can't have those. It was too easy. It didn't work. No pressure on him. Just didn't find Logan Wilson. That's the one we can't have.
It's even just like Joe Shiesty, just like you talk about being confident in the pocket. When we weren't really going to see him run some of those design runs, 2 weeks into the year.
Nah.
So just seeing that he's more confident in the pocket is obviously a plus for them, and a Bengals team that you're exactly right on that. Just historically, every year seem to come out so slow, and they got to just turn on the Jets when Joe Burrow's ready to go.
I forget who they beat. It might have been the Chiefs or the Bills or someone. It was like the same thing. They started slow, and then they beat a team that was hot, and everyone was like, what the fuck? It's like, nah, the Bengals are just pretty good.
Okay, over to our last slate here, our last game in our Week 8 slate of the NFL season. Our Sunday night football game in LA. The Chargers hosting the now 2-6 Bears, winning 30-13. Justin Herbert silencing a little bit of the hate from last week with 3 scores. And Austin Eckler booking with Trent, getting the first touchdown score. I don't know why it was like plus 350, but okay, Austin Eckler, way to go. Good win for the Chargers. Keep that momentum after a tough loss just about 2 weeks ago on primetime against the Cowboys.
Yeah, we need this one in a big way. Like this had a setup. I don't know if you peeped it, they were really trying to have this be like a Chargers, maybe 31-30, Tyson Bagent. They were doing the stories with him on primetime. I'm like, oh no, the Chargers are about to like lose this on like a PI or win this by 1 or something. But nah, we handled business. People were loud about Herbie last week. Like I said, week-to-week league, people got chill. Tyson Bagent cashes a plus 700 anytime touchdown score. Like I say, week in and week out, we just missed the fucking whales.
That's crazy, bro.
Just missed the fucking whales.
That's what it was?
Yep, plus 700. And it probably was a little more than that before I saw it.
It should have been a little.
They probably people, because we be seeing people hammer the QBs on prime time to score. I be seeing the trends, man. I don't know why I don't ever just Tyson Bagent first prime time game. They were giving the stories. The narrative was there. He looked all right, though not his best game, but I mean, this is not a game for him. This wasn't a game that was set up for him to succeed. Hopefully, we see Justin Fields back healthy soon too, as well.
I would have liked to see a different, I don't know, no disrespect to those teams, but that was really the primetime game that we picked for Sunday Night Football.
We definitely could have flexed something there. I agree. And then Tyson Bagent the last 2 weeks, I think we need to. Obviously, gets the one big dub, but we see why I think there's a little more juice with Justin Fields in this offense than Tyson Bagent. It's pretty obvious.
Those are our reactions in this Week 8 of football that is finally concluded. We will see you from Week 9 here at the All Day Everyday Show. If you have liked and watched this YouTube video and have been watching on YouTube, drop a like, a comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new reaction shows and podcasts this NFL season. Our loyal listeners on Apple Podcasts and Spotify know that we appreciate you and we love you, so drop us those ratings, and we will talk to you soon and have you in your ears at work, at the gym, or maybe just hanging out at the crib. If you want to connect with us on our social media platforms, head over to our Twitter page at 80ED Podcast for all our clips. Head over to Instagram as well at 80ED Pod, and our TikTok, which is simply the name of the show. It's been a fun ride here in Week 8. We're going to see you from Week 9, where maybe the Giants won't throw another game away. You've been listening and watching to the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Absolute blast. Maybe it won't be as raspy next week, but let's have some fun. We'll see you guys soon. Alex Jenkins, Manny Ruffin, signing off.